Well, hello. This is Father Fish, and I'm back with you in a new and exciting format. We're going to be lecturing. We're going to be doing the infamous Father Fish rants. We're going to be talking in detail about issues fundamental to the natural aquarium. So much has happened these past 5 or so years. We have grown and developed. The whole concept of a natural aquarium has risen, stood as a child, grown into its adolescence, and is now achieving a maturity and an acceptance and an influence in the industry that is just remarkable. So many new channels have started based on natural aquarium systems. We have had a wonderful impact, and I believe it is only because what we are teaching is so basic to the motivation of every fish keeper everywhere to have an aquarium that is alive, is healthy, in which the fish are thriving, the plants are growing, and there is little or no work needed to keep it all going. Those are the guiding principles of the natural aquarium. And we are so excited to see that it is not just taking hold, but thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of people all over the globe are learning about this, recognizing they can do it too, and without any prior experience at all, are setting up and maintaining aquariums that, well, 20 years ago would have taken a 50-year expert to achieve. Honestly, it is just remarkable. Well, welcome. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to everyone who is here. We're starting a new format. And these Thursday nights are going to bring to you an in-depth analysis of issues fundamental to what we're all about, to maintaining the natural aquarium. We're going to start out with something that is just an absolute breakthrough that could not have happened even a year ago. The wisdom, the interest, the focus, the understanding was not even in place to be able to do what has now been achieved. Well, it's been more than a year. It's been 3 or 4 years that the folks who have put this new and wonderful nutrient product together and developed it began to do so based on their understanding of just what fish in their natural environment are hungry for. Well, that's what has been created. Now, the manufacturer of Nutripreta has granted us an exclusive opportunity to package this under our own name and make it available to our customers. You will not find this anywhere else. This is a Father Fish product, and it is one of which we are immensely proud. Let me tell you a little bit about it and kind of whet your appetite for what you will soon realize is the very best fish food you have ever fed. The issue is really a simple one, and it's something we're all aware of. We've been talking about it for years. I remember Henry Hall many, many, many years ago, back in the 1970s when I met him. Henry was 84 years old. He was my age. He was my age when I met him. 84 years. He celebrated his 85th birthday. We did so together. He married a woman at 84 years old. Sadly, he only lived a year after that. And Regina was devastated to have lost this wonderful, loving, gentle, sweet man. I do have a picture of him somewhere. I've not been able to find it. My library was destroyed many years ago, long after I knew Henry. And I'm afraid many, many things were lost. Nevertheless, Henry Hall said, when talking about fish food, the best food for fish is fish. You've heard me say that before. Well, that's where I learned it. And that's what we have here. We have known for a long time that natural food that is alive, whether it's little tiny insects, little micro and macro fauna, whether it's small fish, shrimp, crabs, whatever, is the very best food for fish. Now, not just fish, of course, but plants as well. There are a number of fish that are inveterate plant eaters. And that goes for plant food as well, for the fresh living plants. So many fish, like my favorite, the waru, just love to eat all my plants. I could plant a tank with them every day. They would have it mowed down, chewed up, swallowed, eaten, and grow on it in a matter of a week, no matter how heavily I planted the tank. Oh, there are some fish. Silver dollar is another one. You cannot keep those fish in a planted tank. They just love them. There's even a snail. It's called the Spixie snail that loves to eat plants. And they'll eat a plant down to the root and then eat the root. They love plants. Fish love to eat living organisms. Other fish that are still alive. Have you ever noticed that as soon as a fish dies in a tank, it may have been protected, maybe nobody else in the tank even paid attention to it, much less chased it or fought with it. But the second it dies, it is instantly food for everybody in the tank. Fish love to eat other fish. And if they don't chase them and catch them, they'll wait until they die and then nibble away at them. Fresh. It's the same with us. We like and prefer whole food. That's what whole food is, isn't it? Whole food is what's grown in the garden and raised on the farm. What is grown in the garden, raised on the farm, caught in the lake and forests. It is whole food. It is natural food. It is what contains all of the benefits, the nutrients, the rich food value that gives us health and happiness. It's the same with fish. But you see, here's the issue. From the very beginning, when people started keeping fish seriously, they needed to be able to feed them. And well, there were those who just took the extra time and effort to create cultures of food, cultures of living food for their pets. What most folks never did. It does take quite a lot of effort to do that. And you have to keep up with it rigorously, or, well, very often it fails. So it just was not very practical for far too many fish keepers. And so companies began sprouting up manufacturing fish food. One of the earliest was the Wardley Company. And Wardley created a fish food that stands today probably as one of the best ever created. One of the best of the synthetic foods. Now, I use the word synthetic not because it's made of chemicals, because it's not, but because it is a manufactured product, and manufactured in such a way that much of its initial food value is lost. Oh, to be sure, the manufacturers used food products, shrimp, chicken meal, bone meal, waste products from packing plants, such as fish packing plants, other vegetable matter, generally all of it processed waste, bulk, boiled, baked, and reduced to a powder or a flake or a little pellet, packaged and sold, and manufactured in such a way that it, once packaged, it could sit on a shelf for an indefinite length of time. Well, that's what we had for so many years, until finally some folks began freezing food, and that was pretty good. Others began dehydrating food, freeze-dried food. Well, freeze-dried removes the moisture, but in reducing moisture, you also reduce the fatty acids, the elements in the living creature that provide the greatest benefit. So while freeze-dried is there are some new processes now in freeze-dried. I'm working with a few to see how they do. Generally, I don't like them. They really don't have much more food value than any dried processed food. Both are lacking. They're lacking in what fish go after. They're lacking in those natural oils, the natural fatty acids, the natural organic material that is what is digestible and what provides nutrition, what provides for the blood and the flesh of the fish. So what has happened now? What has happened? What is this? What is this Nutripreta? And why am I going on about it? Well, let's open it up and take a look. These lids are snug. There. Well, by golly, it's a flake. Look at that, a flake. Ooh, but look at the color. Look at the rich brown color. Now, we don't have smell-o-vision. You can't smell this, but oh, it's heavenly. It smells like dinner. These are flakes. There are big flakes. There are smaller flakes. Some of them are really quite large. Let's see if I can find a big one here. Yeah. Very nice flakes. Now, this is a flake that is soft. It's soft to the touch. It crumbles very easily. It's an extremely soft, delicate flake. Its process is very, very different from the flake food that you're used to feeding your fish. That flake food is comprised of, well, I said it earlier, of waste product for the most part, waste product from packing plants, seafood packing plants, meat packing plants, chicken packing plants, whatever. It's the waste product, what is left over that's thrown into trucks. Generally, it's packaged and shipped out to remanufacturers, resuppliers, who buy it cheap, who boil it, flake it, dry it, break it down, and then make a thin slurry out of it. Put it under a 300-degree lamp, 300-degree temperature oven, and bake it hard. That's flake food. That's how flake food is made. This is not made like that. This is raw material. This particular one is shrimp and garlic. It is shrimp and garlic that are made into a slurry, ground into a fine paste, to which are added a bulk of vitamins, supplements, are then spread out in a cool, dry area, a cool, dry tray, and allowed to dry at a temperature of about 110 degrees until it is this constitution. Amazing stuff. You can smell the freshness in it. Now, it's not going to sit on the shelf for 10 years and be the same as it was 10 years earlier. The recommended shelf life is about 6 months. I keep mine refrigerated, although you really don't need to. You can put it in your fish room and feed it in a quantity. This is a good quantity. Will last a few months, and it'll keep for a few months. It'll keep for up to 6 months, at which point it begins to do what anything else alive does. It begins to sour. Probably still good food, but It never seems to last that long. I have some sitting here on my desk. This, well, I've got another one half empty, actually. It's right here. I've been feeding that for about a week. So in all of my fish, and I feed this to all of them, that's about a week's worth. So one of these lasts about 2 weeks with my 40 odd tanks. Doesn't take a lot. But it's, again, it's very soft. It softens when you put it in the water. It instantly goes soft. It doesn't melt. It doesn't just fritter away. It stays in its composition, and its flake composition, but it softens very quickly. And the fish eat it very rapidly, and I'm just obviously enjoying it. It's not something that's hard or difficult to swallow. It's not something that stays rigid at all. It's soft, like eating any kind of soft food. Now, there's another little trick to this that I've learned that I find really exciting. And I want to kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking here. Here's a little bit of water. Let's make it a little less. Here's a little water. I'm going to take some of this flake and put it in the water and stir it around. And we're going to, now if you see, can you see that? It's maintaining its constitution. In other words, it's still a flake. It's not melting. But you can now pulverize this. I probably put too much water in, and make it a fine paste. And it is a magnificent food for baby fish. Just absolutely perfect. Very high quality food for baby fish. So this has a lot of different kinds of different ways of being able to use it. I made a little video. Let's see if I can bring it up. I went into my fish room today, and I fed some of my fish. Let's see if I get it. Here we are. Watch this. Full flake. Something brand new and remarkable in processed fish food. This is as close to a natural food as it is possible to get. It functions perfectly as a natural fish food. Now, as such, it should be of special interest to the fish. Let's see how these guys do. Instant, just instantaneous, including females carrying eggs. It just has such an instant impact on fish. They absolutely love it. Let's try our koi down here. See if we can get them to come up. See if we can get them to come up for food. As they come, look at that. Just instantaneous all over it. We've got cories in the bottom. Let's get some. If you wet the food, it sinks immediately. All up at the top, all excited. And they will eat until every flake is gone. Hope the cories came right over for it. That's right where we dropped it. A little more down there. See what hits bottom.
if any of it gets to the bottom, put a little of that. Good. They're all over it. Look at that. See them on the bottom? All over, even the cords are actually. This is an amazing fish soup.
Just remarkable food. We're selling this. In fact, this coming weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, we're doing a Black Friday sale that'll run the whole weekend. We're going to be discounting everything in the shop, and that, of course, will include the food. So you can wait or you can get it right away. These go for $20, and it'll last you in a fish room that has 5 or 10 tanks. It'll last you 3 to 4 months. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Again, a food that exemplifies what we're doing and where we're going in the hobby and what we're really all about, which is creating an environment that is as close to a natural environment as really it's possible for us to get. And it's working. And we're being enormously successful. I've been feeding this now for about 4 months. And we've noticed a tremendous difference. Now there are 2 different types. We have this in 2 formulas. We have the Flake mysis shrimp and garlic, and we have the color enhancer and growth, which has foods that improve, like keratin, that improve the color, and extra fatty acids and extra proteins in order to bulk up baby fish and get food bred up to the point or built up to the point where they begin egging up. So we have 2 different types. You can get both. We'll do a special deal for both. But do try this. You're going to absolutely love it. It's available, of course, in our store, along with lots of other plants and other products. Nutripreta, something so new, so exciting, so extraordinary that it just is taking the hobby by storm. The very best food you can possibly get. Well, we're about half an hour in, and I want to be able to break these lectures into 2 parts. I want to be able to do the first half as a presentation, and then the other half go to the chat and chat with you about what you're doing in your hobby. I did not post a link, although I could do that. We could even bring some folks up. Let me get a link posted. There's no reason we can't do that. Just take me a minute to get there. I think I can do this. Let's see. All right, we're live. I'm going to post this link. I'll just post it for now. Here we are. Let's see if I can do this. Here we go. I'll post the link and then I'll tag it. Pin it there. There we are. Okay. So let's see. What are y'all talking about? What's going on? I'll tell you what, I'm not going to scroll back. But if any of you have any questions or observations, make them now, because I'm going to follow the chat from this moment forward, from 8:29 forward. I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to go back. I'll get lost if I do. Half an hour chat with this gang uh, will take me half the night to get through it all. So make your comments now that you want me to read. Spread the word. Father Fish is back Thursday nights at 8. Thursday Bites. Well, in the spirit of the food, we're at Thursday Bites, and it is a bite in the a bite at the Old Apple. The Old Apple now full of juice and vim and vinegar and raring to go. I will say I've had a rough 9 months or so since the beginning of the year. It's been pretty tough. I've been in and out of the hospital, I guess 3 times, 4 times. I don't lost track of how many times, and had significant procedures each time I was there. But each one of them made me just a little bit stronger and a little bit healthier. I'm down. I finally reached my weight goal and got down under 200 pounds. That happened just a week ago. So that's something I'm still very excited about and trying to hold on to. I get back up a pound or two and then got to get back down. So it's there, but it's not holding solid yet. I need to get down to about 195 for it to be solid, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it. I have a new pacemaker that is the Cadillac of pacemakers, what my doctor said. It triggers both sides of my heart. Oh, that's funny. The camera just is looking at it sideways. Right there it is. It triggers both sides of my heart, which means that the problem I was having of my heart not beating strongly enough on one side has been corrected, and I now am I'm now heartfelt and fully hearted out. And in fact, the doctor said that this will strengthen the weak side of my heart and should make me even healthier. So I'm getting better. I've had a cold this past week. I'm pretty well over that finally. And just and the other issue is I've been really struggling with how to proceed, and it finally has come clear that this is the approach I want to be able to take. I want to be able to focus in depth on where we're at, what we're doing, give folks a chance to really learn with some deep understanding the procedures that we're employing and the systems that we've developed, the products that we've designed, and why all this and how all this works together. We have developed, as you know, a number of products that are basic to being able to be really successful and effective at maintaining a natural aquarium. Perhaps the greatest single piece of work is a book, which is right now available as an ebook on the natural aquarium. We just, however, received our final layout from the printer of the book. It's about 400 pages long. It's a major tome. We're going through that now. It looks really good. We will then do the cover, front and back cover, send it to the printer, and we'll begin printing hopefully as early as January. So we could have some copies late January, early February. Certainly by late winter, our book is going to be available, and we could not be more excited about it. So there's that as well. Well, let me get to some of your comments here. The girls have been doing an amazing job. I know they have. And Dina has now developed a Wednesday night that is just wonderful. Just so proud of her and so excited. She's doing what she loves, and that's really the key to making these live streams and making YouTube channels work, to do what you love and to share it. And that's what we're all about. We're doing what we love, we're sharing it, and so many people have been able to benefit and share with us their own journey in maintaining these wonderful, wonderful aquariums. Good to see you too, Zach. Let's see. If fish died of a parasite and the other fish ate it, but they also get sick? Generally, no. There are exceptions to that. The internal worms are an exception to that. But any external parasite is not going to stay on a dead fish. It'll drop off. Internal parasites are another matter. They are, however, pretty easy to deal with. And this food is one really excellent source of not just nutrition, but health. The garlic in this food kills internal parasites. So it acts as a prophylactic for your fish by keeping them healthy and keeping all of those internal bacteria and internal parasites from being able to to get established in your fish's gut. What else we got here? Compare and contrast printed food versus live food, which is not nearly as convenient. Well, it's not absolutely perfect, but I have a hard time telling the difference. It is so close that it's going to take a while to really see the difference. There's no question but that this is not live food. And so it's not going to have the same level of organics that live food will have. But boy, it's close. I mean, it's as close as it's possible to get. And the guys who are making this are very sensitive to being able to keep all of the amino acids, all of the fatty acids, all of the oils, all of the really valuable food materials that make food important as a as nutritional for the fish's body. And they work very hard at doing that. So it's close. It's as close as we can get. And it's being improved constantly. There is guaranteed analysis. This is not something that's just being thrown together. We have the formula for it, and we will make that available. It'll be on a label as soon as we get it printed. So you'll know exactly what's in it. And that guaranteed analysis guarantees that this is a product that's going to be the same every time you buy it. It may be improved, but it's not going to be worse, and it's not going to be something that's just thrown together. This is a professionally manufactured product based on the same ethics and principles that are required in order to be able to maintain a brand name. So you can be confident with that. Really good question, Adam. That's Adam Armbruster. Figures he would ask such a question. Not perfect, but boy, is it close. Just and you'll see when you try it. You'll see how close it really is. Want that book on my coffee table? Me too. Me too. Looking forward to it as well. Hi, Craig. Oh, let's see. Tina saying, praying your health stays strong. Enjoy your content so much. I knew it by Natural Aquarium and love it. Do you know I have had so many new hobbyists, people who have never had a fish tank before in their life, buy our soil, set up the tank according to our directions, and have been able to establish a tank with minimal effort and minimal ongoing maintenance that is just genuinely spectacular. We have created a miracle. We have created exactly what everyone is trying to do. Now, all we've got to do is beat the big box stores over the head hard enough that they will begin to provide these kinds of products. I've noticed that manufacturers are more and more trying to find ways to duplicate what we're doing. I don't believe they're going to be able to, mainly because what we're doing is, well, it's frankly a whole lot more expensive to do than a manufacturer is willing to get into. They would have to charge 4 to 5 times more than we're charging in order to be able to do precisely what we're doing. So we'll see. We'll see. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm sure some competition will come along at some point that'll just knock my socks off. And that's the point where I'll settle in and feel good about the fact that I've impacted the industry to such an extent that they're trying to copy me and doing a good job of it, I hope. What else is there being asking if ebook can be downloaded in different languages? No, I don't think so. Although with AI, it should be possible. I don't believe we've looked at it. Let me do that. Let me ask some of our folks to look into it. We'll see what we can work at. It should be fairly simple, actually. As an ebook, you should be able to submit it to a AI translation service and be able to achieve that very simply. But let's see what we can find out. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Been asked if ebook can be downloaded in different languages. Right. Nature has all the answers. Nature is all the answers. That's exactly right. You know, it's kind of interesting. The notion that the nitrogen cycle is just so important to and is taught to be so important to the new hobbyists. You have to learn the nitrogen cycle. Well, the reality is that the nitrogen cycle is what it is. It's ammonia turning into nitrate, being consumed by plants. That's all it is. And it happens automatically. It happens all by itself. You don't need to do a thing. Now, if you try to maintain a very sterile tank, it'll take you a little longer to achieve it. But if you set up a natural aquarium, it's instantaneous. It happens that fast. And the reason is that plants don't care whether it's ammonia or nitrate or nitrate. They don't care about all that. They just eat it all. Plants take in ammonia directly. They consume it directly. So the minute the fish pees, the plants eat the pee. Nature is remarkable. That's only one process. Only one process. We've identified about 50 different processes that occur in establishing a tank. And we've discerned that there are hundreds, almost certainly thousands more cycles and processes and developments, things that occur in the tank that change the tank, that mature the tank, that mature the soil, mature the water, mature everything that's going on in there. That's why I make a big deal out of water. Changing water is not usually a smart thing to do. Not if you have a healthy, balanced aquarium. In fact, it's a very dumb thing to do because that water has changed and developed and is carrying in it the foundations of health for the fish and the plants that are living in it and the other microorganisms. It works in simpatico. The water becomes simpatico with the animals living in it. It forms a unified structure, if you will. It's an organism, the parts of which fit together and work together as an organism. So the whole process, the whole aquarium becomes an organic experience. Now, it can go out of balance, to be sure, and you need to be sensitive to that and see it when it happens and make some modifications. I do water changes. I don't do them all the time, but I do them. When I see a tank that's slipping, getting maybe too much algae, water getting a little kind of, I call it thick. It's almost slimy. It gets a little too organic. I'll soften it up. I'll take some out and put new water in to kind of freshen it a bit, just as the rain would. Think about rain, though. Think about this a minute. If an inch of rain falls into a 100-acre pond that's 8 feet deep, an inch of rain, how much dilution occurs? 1 in 1%. 8 times 12 is 96, 1 of 96, approximately 1%. So if it rains every day for a month, well, that could be 25, 30% in a month. It could be. If it rains every day, an inch of rain every day, which of course it never does. You may get an inch of rain once a month. You may get a quarter of an inch of rain or an eighth of an inch or a 16th of an inch every day. What would that be? 5, 6 inches, 7 inches in a month? 7%, 5%. Think of that. Understand what rain really does. It dilutes, but it doesn't change. It dilutes a little bit. Dilute your tea. You're not going to dump a half a glass of water in strong tea or strong coffee. You put a little bit in. Just lighten it up a bit. Like that. Think of it that way. Do we need a bubbler for air in the tank? You do not need it, and that's not the main benefit of it. The main benefit, I believe, and this is the reason I have ears. I've got sponge filters in virtually all of my tanks. I don't do it in little jars, but I do it in or little bowls. But I do it in my tanks so that the water is moving. I don't get pockets of dead water. One of the problems that hyperpollution has created like in Florida with the red tide is that it settles in pockets where currents, tidal currents, avoid certain areas like mound areas in the seabed in relatively shallow water. Where the water will be still, the water will swirl around it and it'll create a dead spot. That dead spot, an excess amount of algae will burn up all of the, or bacteria will burn up all of the oxygen. And then everything below that that's oxygen dependent dies. even the plants will begin to die, and they'll release bacteria which will kill the organic. So it creates a dead zone. Now, that happens in an aquarium in two ways. It happens in a large aquarium if the water is very still and you have this tiny fish that don't create much in the way of current. And there can be an area that where there's perhaps not very much light, not very much plant activity, perhaps a dark corner where the water will not move. And over time, it'll create a bacterial development, a bacterial column, or bacteria column, which kill what's below it. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Putting an air stone or a sponge filter in the tank causes enough current to prevent these pockets from occurring. So it allows the water to flow very slowly and very gently. The other thing that does, of course, is it brings the water that's on the bottom up to the surface where the CO2 can exchange for oxygen. And oxygen then can be returned to the bottom of the tank. Well, there are natural processes that cause that to happen. Having a little bit of current accelerates it and makes it that much healthier. It's like the action of wind on water. Wind on water creates deeper waves, waves that go down to deeper and deeper levels. Certainly in a pond or a lake, the water movement from waves would reach to the bottom and cause that water to move. So think of an air stone or a sponge filter as wind. And you might even sprinkle a little water as rain once in a while. So you can duplicate everything if you really think about it and get creative. Let's see. Couldn't ask for better inspiration. You've turned my wonderful system around to 150% of pure natural system. Best advice for plant approach. Thank you so much for what you're really doing. That's Kimka Super 9, Polar Bear 62. Thank you so much, Kim. Is new book different from the ebook? No, it's exactly the same. No difference at all. I think there may be some minor editorial differences. We got the ebook out rather quick before we did final edit, but the final edit was typos and structure like that, really not content. There's no new content in the book. I actually have not a single thing ever. I knew not a single issue with anything, and there is a lot that can be achieved. Well, God bless you. God bless you, Kim. Thank you so much. Wayne, ebook went to publication to be available to some big source. Yes, Barnes, yes, it will. Oh, it did. That's interesting. I'm not aware of that. Our publisher did that. That's exciting to know. Our publisher will be putting the book in all the big bookstores. It'll be in Barnes Noble. It'll be on Amazon Books. It'll be everywhere in all the big bookstores and lots of the small ones as well. And we want to try to be sure to get into all the pet shops too. So we're going to be knocking on the door of the big box stores to be able to get our book in those stores as well. Wish foods like that were available in my area. Jan, if you're in the U.S., Jan, they are. And this is a good item for us to be able to look into shipping internationally. I think we'll be able to do it. We've been looking for ways to do that. And it'll make it a little pricier, but what the other thing we will be able to do is ship it in bulk to our dirt suppliers. like to Great Britain, where we have a bulk dirt supplier or a supplement supplier, be able to get it to them so that they can repackage it and provide it in their country. I think we'll be able to do that. This new fish food based on natural, organic, and not byproduct. Yes, that's correct. It's based on natural products, natural organic products. It is not byproduct. No, it's not waste product. It's not offal. It's natural product. No, it comes to them frozen. I mean, they don't buy mice and shrimp by the ton. They buy it frozen because that's the only way to transport it safely and healthfully. But it's fresh frozen and thawed as quickly as they get it. It's also done in small batches. This is not manufactured in vast quantities. It's manufactured in very small batches and is shipped out right away. So when you get it, it's fresh. It was manufactured a month or less ago. We find that we're selling it at the rate of about every 2 months right now. We buy it in 20-pound lots, and we're able to move it out. That we're able to sell that 20 pounds currently at the rate of about 10 pounds a month. I think that's going to go up dramatically. We probably are going to start having trouble packaging it, simply because it's going to be time consuming doing that. But we are putting it in their own packages, and this is really a great package for it. It's easy to use, it's convenient, and it has enough in it to be able to last for a while. Plus, it's airtight. Let's see what else is here. My system went ultimate in 3 months because of you. That's great. I love it. Ultimate in 3 months. Ultimate is a relative term, of course. It is going to ultimate all the time. It never stops its ultimatum, if you will. It never stops improving, never stops growing, never stops becoming more stable and stronger and healthier. That's the nature of nature. The nature of nature is that it constantly is improving, constantly is getting stronger and healthier. Yes, that's absolutely right, Adam. The food is the missing link in a natural aquarium. And I believe that's why I'm so excited about it. This is something I've been looking for a very long time. And I've struggled with, as have so many of you, struggled with maintaining live foods. I'm busy. I'm just busy doing way too many other things, and I never retired to my fish room where I could sit there all day and languish over the Daphnia culture and the micro worm culture and the fruit fly culture. Oh, oh, those days. I long for those days. No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, I love it. It's great fun, but what I'm doing is so much more fun, so much more engaging. It keeps me in touch with you, keeps me out of the house, out of my brain, and into places where I can be sharing with others. That's why I have a shop. At 85, I have a shop. Who in their right man does that? Nobody does that. It's stupid to do that. I love it. Absolutely love it. We've been struggling of late. The market has been killing us. So we've lost enough of our income. We've had to lay off some very, very wonderful staff, which just broke my heart to do. But you know what it's done? it's put me back in the fish room. And I'm loving it. I'm feeding my fish. I'm taking care of my tanks. It's just Brenda and me, and we're doing it all. Bryce is along for the ride too, and he's a young man. He's such a big help. He's he's he knows a lot more than he thinks he does, and he's a lot more competent than he thinks he is too. But it's really sweet working with him. He's such a wonderful young man, and Brenda's just an absolute trooper. Absolute trooper. She's just here for the duration. And she'll be here for the duration. Believe you me, this is her home. Not even her second home, I think. I think it's her first home. Is mine too, really, truthfully. What else are we on here? Let's see. Budget bonsai. Hello, hello. Do we need to worry about water direct changes when dosing fertilizer? Yes, you do, and don't do it. If you have a dirted substrate using our soil, there's absolutely no reason at all to put fertilizer in that tank. It is totally unnecessary. Don't do it. And especially never, never, never use a liquid fertilizer. That is the worst thing you can possibly put in the fish tank, with the exception perhaps of gravel. But that's another story. Budget. I know, budget. It's true. It's true. Nature's the only way, look, I'll ever approach my system appropriately. Amen to that. Amen to that, Kim. Memberships. Yes, indeed. Budget, budget. Well, we're getting there. We're doing better. We're doing better. How do you see any problems using rainwater collected from the roof via gutters? There's a trick to it. What you want to do is collect the water in a barrel, whatever container. Draw the water you're using off the top. Don't go down more than 3/4 of the way to pull the water out. The material, the dirt, dust, other things that are on the roof will settle to the bottom. Now, if you put a drain in the bottom, you can drain that off. There's a fish lab in Florida where they have a 10,000 gallon rain barrel. What's it called? In the ground. When they have them in the ground, there's a name for them. God, name just escapes me. It'll come to me in a minute. A kiln, but it's not kiln. Anyway, they have this huge big silo that's full of rainwater. They have an acre of roof, so all of that rain is diverted into this silo. They have a drain, a petcock at the bottom, and every week after it rains, after a week or so, they'll drain that off and get all the sludge out from the bottom. And then when they draw from halfway. So it's pretty pure. If you do it that way, you'll be able to maintain the purity of the water, and you won't get that dirt and grime that settles on the roof. It's only there with the first flush of rain. So if you have a way to divert that first flush, that's another way to do it as well. But the petcock system works pretty well. And just be sure to not draw water from the bottom. That's the main thing. Following your channel recently, tips have saved my fish basket. Bravo. Slime kind of water once, very weird. It is strange, isn't it? Yeah. It's not an oil slick. If the water gets thick, Henry Hall used to be able to look at water and by looking at it, knew what the pH was. and knew what the condition of the water was. He was so attuned to his water that he knew when water needed to be diluted, or when the pH had gone too high. He didn't use buffers. He had bare tanks with one large fish in each tank and a sponge filter on the top. Well, that sponge filter was a large filter that fit across virtually the entire top of the tank. And he would draw water from the bottom with air, just an airlift tube, onto that big sheet of sponge on a slotted box sitting on top of the tank. His light was all from the side, so he didn't light, so he never had algae. But over time, if that sponge filter didn't get changed routinely enough or cleaned out, the water would become yellow. He would see the difference, and he would see the difference in the fish's behavior as well. So he would know when to be able to make those changes. It doesn't happen automatically, and in our systems, it rarely happens at all. If it does, it'll be a matter of months in a very heavily populated tank with perhaps too much light or too high a temperature. Those are conditions that can accelerate uh, um, um, accelerate processes, and then so doing increase certain foundational or elemental organics in the system. Uh, Tina is saying my plants are growing like crazy. I have to trim them and put them in mason jars, trying to save them because I'd like to get another tank to put them in and get some more water. Um, Talk to some local shops, local hamburger shops that sell pickles. They'll have pickle jars. See if they can save you gallon pickle jars. They're wonderful. I've got dozens of them. My goal is to get 100 pickle jars, gallon pickle jars, and then I've got to do better than all of them. We're already growing out plants in pickle jars. So pickle jars are wonderful, and there are not enough of them to go around. But hamburger shops throw them away. They don't keep them. So go talk to your hamburger shop and see if they have a problem getting rid of their pickle jars. Should I worry more about slight water changes when dosing FERT? Stop dosing FERT. I'm telling you, don't do it. It's the worst thing you can do. If you're dosing FERTs, that means you have a dead tank. That means your tank is so out of balance that you have to keep putting nutrients in to feed the plants. If that's true, you have a sick tank. Don't do it. It is the worst solution to a bad problem. Think of what's happening in farming, in the farming industry. The farming industry is finally waking up to the fact that the fertilization programs that they've been involved in have been killing their soil for years, killing it, not making it better, making it worse, and causing a kind of growth, and requiring a kind of plant that has narrower and narrower and narrower ability to be able to function normally. They can't even keep the seeds from their plants and replant it because the plants have become, the seed has become so specialized that it's patented. Quality farmers committed to a quality product, are running away from this kind of industrial farming because it destroys the soil and it creates food that has less and less nutritional value. Don't do it. Don't do it. Create a healthy tank that generates all of the nutrients your plants will ever need. All of the nutrients your plants will ever need. All of the nutrients your plants will ever need are created naturally in a natural system. They don't need more than the system is capable of creating. Don't put fertilizer in your tank, it kills the tank. Why are you dosing fertilizer? Very good, Kimmy. Very good. Ghost. Thank you. Gravel industry aquarium decor has sold so many new fish owners a lie. Indeed, they have. Indeed, they have. And I tell you where it started. It did not start in the 40s or 50s. It started in the late 60s and 70s with the under gravel filter, because that filter did not work with sand, because the sand just packed it out. They had to use gravel. Well, there it was. All of a sudden, gravel it's cheaper than sand. It's easier to transport. You can colorize it. It met the immediate expectations and needs of the merchant, interested only in selling product, whether it was good product or not. And it was a simple enough matter with this under gravel filter. Oh, well, you got to have gravel. A friend of mine, John Coleman, was the head curator at Shed Aquarium. Also worked at Lincoln Park before that. Shed Aquarium. The head aquarist at Shed Aquarium. I met him in the 70s when I was working on the National Aquarium in Baltimore. I traveled around and visited all of the aquariums in the U.S. as a way of being able to understand what they were doing. Met John there, and then many years later, 25 years later, met him at a pet shop in Southwest Florida, renewed the friendship, and we became fast buds for 20 years until he passed. He collected while he was at Shed all over the world. He was one of the top collectors, literally traveled all over the world collecting specimens. One of the areas he loved to go to was the Mediterranean, and especially the waters around Spain and Italy, which are colder water that goes down into the 40s and 50s, where there are kinds of animals that don't exist elsewhere. There was an aquarium that he visited in Madrid, the curator at which had created a filtration system based on drawing water out of the Mediterranean and filtering it through his system and back into the sea, a so-called open system. To do this, he created trays, vast trays. It was really grates with fine holes in the grates, and then capped it with a gravel, a relatively fine gravel. That was the foundation of the gravel, of the under gravel filter system. John brought that back to Shed Aquarium and employed it at Shed Aquarium. And the industrialists then took that concept and converted it to slitted trays with gravel on top. And that became the under gravel filter, which was all the rage in the late 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, when everybody finally gave up on it because it's really a piece of crap. John swore by it until the day he died, but he had a way of doing it that was like nobody else. He allowed it to mature, and he never cleaned it. He never broke it down. So it became a natural system. He would not admit it, mind you, but it did. Let's see. Book signings. Yeah, we're going to do book signings. We have a bit of a problem with that because three of our authors are in Europe. So we're not sure how we're going to be able to do it. We have 5 authors plus me. So we have 6 signatures. I will sign a bunch myself, but we want to try to get, we'll just have to ship some boxes around, I guess, to try to get everybody's signature. Those are going to be worth $100 a pop, at least. And we'll probably do enough to have for all of the authors, at least to be able to have a copy signed by each of the authors. But we'll do the best we can. And I most certainly will be signing copies, as will each of the other authors. We will do book signings, and we'll probably do book signings in bookstores. We'll certainly do one in the Barnes and Noble here, just for the sheer joy of doing it. Let's see. I have a white spot problem. How can I treat it? Take the temperature up to 87, leave it there for a week. That's all you need to do. 87 degrees for 1 week, then drop it to 82 and leave it there. That solves the problem. Thank you, Swamp Rabbit. What time is it? Oh, we're way over. All right, we're gonna make a night of it. Thank you so much, everybody. Just fun to be with you. Enjoyed this. We're going to do it again next week. Don't know what the topic is yet. It'll be something on setting up the natural aquarium, probably having to do with the soil foundation. But we'll see. See you all next week. Next week is Thanksgiving. We probably will not be doing a live stream on Thanksgiving Day. I rather doubt that we'll do that. If we do, it'll just be a chance to share some turkey and say hello and give everybody a blessing. But see you in 2 weeks for sure. Back here at the new blog, the Father Fish blog, lecturing on natural aquariums. Love you all. Bye for now.